Hello everyone and welcome to the Callum Cymru revision sessions. This evening will focus on business studies, marketing in particular at GCSE, and will be presented by myself, Paul Woodhouse, from Colwyn Bay, and I currently teach in e-sgol. So this session will last approximately 45 minutes, where we'll run through relevant content from the marketing part of the specification. Over the next few weeks, we're going to have a look at a few different elements of business studies, and next week's will be human resources. Today's session will be recorded and the relevant resources will be uploaded onto the Callum Cymru tab. Thank you very much, and please take part where you can. So as I said, we're going to look at marketing in particular today. Obviously, we've got the four elements: the product, the place, the price, and promotion, which are the four key elements of marketing. So any question that is relevant to the marketing mix, that is what you need to be starting to think about. Now, in my opinion, just a revision technique that I would use for my students is to make notes at the top of the page or around your exam paper when you are citing that exam. We all know it's an uncomfortable situation, and therefore any sort of help that you can give yourself, then it's an absolute must. So if you write down the 4 P's, even just P, then it's going to give you some kind of guidance so you don't forget something to write about something if you've got maybe a 10, 8 mark question on that sort of topic. Now, the first thing about marketing, we can start to think about, like I say, we're going to have a look at revising some of those key concepts. We're going to apply those concepts to different questions throughout this session, and then we're going to understand and demonstrate some of the skills needed, especially to reach some of those higher grades that I'm sure lots of you are striving for. So to start with, a little bit of a video just to try and understand a little bit about what marketing is before we start breaking it down into like I say, those 4 P's and market segmentation and a few of the other key concepts that go around that. So a very quick video for you. Just take note of this. Okay, so CocaCola, very, very popular brand, obviously, recognized throughout the world, multinational company. And we're starting to pick out bits of information already just from CocaCola itself. Now, with Coke, they're obviously starting to look at segmentation. So from that video alone, we can start to think, right, well, who are we targeting at? What type of customer are we targeting our product at? And try and put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's working in that marketing department for Coca-Cola. Who are you trying to influence into buying your product? Or how are you trying to influence someone into buying your product? So through that campaign in particular, the Share a Coke campaign, which isn't new from Coca-Cola, but something that they've tried to personalize marketing, which has become very sort of trendy over the past few years. And they are targeting that consumer by simply putting somebody's name on, or a family member, or a sibling. And you're trying to use the power of psychology really into trying to force somebody into buy a product or be aware of a product. So Coke in particular have done that very successfully just by putting the name of somebody and sharing it around and sharing that product around the world. So like I say, obviously the 2019 Share a Coke campaign has been very, very popular throughout the world. So what is marketing? So marketing is the process of creating, communicating, delivering and exchanging goods and services that have a value for customers. So a good marketing mix is vital for a successful business, and we've already established that a marketing mix is those 4 P's: the product, the place, the price and promotion. So how do we create, communicate and deliver and exchange those goods with the customer? Now we've got to remember the difference between customer and consumer, okay, when you're thinking about your exam question. All right, who's the person that buys it? Who's the person that uses it? Who are we actually targeting our product at here? Okay, with the customer being the person that buys it, the purchaser, and the consumer, the person that's using it. So if we develop that a little bit further, we start to use this word market segmentation. Now, I've already sort of suggested this a couple of times throughout those first few minutes. And market segmentation is simply splitting into smaller groups. So very popular question, identify two segments of a market for a particular product. And all you need to be writing is any of those things that are on your screen there: age, gender, geographical area, income, hobbies. Any of those are different types of segmentation. Now, why do we do that? Why does a business feel the need to segment its customers? And it's all about reaching its target audience. Who are those specific customers that your business want to target? And that means that we can then advertise in the right place. So for CocaCola, we're looking obviously at a multinational company. We're looking at massive amounts of sales each year. Now, we break that down into a smaller local company, whether in North, Mid or South Wales. And you're starting to think, right, well, who are your specific customers? So it's a farmer, for instance, and you've got milk. Who is that customer? Who are you targeting? What size of farm are you to start with? What kind of revenue are you looking to generate? Are you targeting your bigger supermarkets? Or are you looking for your smaller independent sort of businesses to try and sell your products to? So again, it's all about who you see as your potential customers and what are their needs and wants. So sometimes we can segment and we can focus too much on these elements. So for instance, if we're focused on a specific gender, it might be that the opposite gender wants to buy that product as well. So therefore, we're missing opportunities to target those customers. So it's very important that if we're doing this, we've done our market research to try and identify who our target audience is, so then we can segment it and we can target our marketing at the right people. Like I said, it's a typical exam question. Identify a number of market segments for a business. So here we've got a motor company. Now this could, obviously looking at Ford here, so we know again we've got different types of products within Ford. Looking at different types of audiences, and again, if you think about the different types of businesses that are, if you think about the different types of products on offer, and I think most of us will be aware of the different types of cars that Ford sort of sell, you can start to think, well, actually, we've got Ford KA, so we've got a smaller car. We've also then got our, it might be a Ford Focus or Fiesta. And you're starting to think about, right, well, actually, we're looking at maybe young people for our smaller cars, and we're looking then at more families for our larger cars that are family friendly, our saloon cars or our HUV cars that are going to target different audiences. So we're thinking about the different business that is given to you, the concept that is given to you. And again, the key bit on this in your exam is looking at the type of business that it talks about and the content that's in there. So if you knew nothing about it, we've got sells small and large cars already written within that area. So we can already identify from the context that we've got two different types of cars available. We've got a range of colors. We've got a range of prices. So again, you've already got those segments that are already mentioned on the previous slide. They're actually within the text. So use that text to your advantage when you're looking at those. So the next part might be recommending one suitable sales promotion for a business. So again, it's a different exam paper, different question, and we're looking at Jet2. So Jet2 is obviously a travel firm. Again, it'll be given to you in the case study a little bit more than what we've got on our screen. But again, recommend one suitable sales promotion for Jet2. Now your key bits there, one suitable sales promotion. So you should know by now, or hopefully know by now, that a sales promotion is something like a buy one get one free, 50% off, 10% off, something like that. So you've got to then make it relevant to your case study. So we're looking again at that airline company. So your sales promotion then becomes something like 10% off. Children under 5 go free. If you put something there like buy one get one free, which is a set type of sales promotion, it's probably not relevant for an airline company, so you wouldn't get the second mark. So again, think about that case and that context that is. So if we start to then break down our presentation a bit more, and we start to look at place. So the place element of the marketing mix now. So place is not the same as site. Okay, so if you get a question on place, don't think about the location too much. This is something that often gets misunderstood. It's something that it's an area that gets answered incorrectly at different times. So just be careful with this one. Okay, so place is where how we are looking to make a product available to the consumer. Okay, or where we make a product available to the consumer. So we've got these three different sort of main channels of distribution is what we call it. So we've got our direct channel. So how are we getting our product directly from our producer through to our consumer? Now, sometimes that's appropriate. So the person who's producing it, manufacturing that product, and it could be somebody who is making a cake for a wedding or bespoke wedding dresses, something like that. Okay, it's going straight to the consumer. There's no middleman, there's no middle people involved. It goes straight from the person who's produced it directly to the consumer. Now, when you're starting to make bigger quantities or larger quantities of products, that's not possible. So therefore, we start to bring in this second element, or this second group of people, and we've got our retailer. Now, our retailer is somebody that we see on a high street. So somebody that's going to sell on that product to us. Now, they might adapt that product slightly to make it unique from its competitors. They might alter the pricing strategy. They might use some promotional material, but they're going to try and make it different to their competitor. So it's going through somebody else. So we're going through a retailer in this case. And our third one, we've then got an extra step. So we've got wholesaler or distributor. Now, I'd like to refer to it as a wholesaler. So that's somebody like Costco or Booker's, somebody who buys some larger quantities of items in and then sells them on in bulk. Now, normally you would then sell that to a retailer. So a typical example here would be a hotel or a small hotel in a seaside resort. So you might want a number of, let's think, tea bags. Now, you're not going to go straight to somebody, Yorkshire Tea, the producers who are producing Yorkshire Tea. You're going to go through a wholesaler. So again, it's going to reduce that price because they can buy in bulk and they can drive that down that price. Okay, now we refer to that as purchasing economies of scale. So where we drive down that price, and I'm sure you've heard of bulk buying before, okay, we've got that economies of scale or purchasing economies of scale. So the benefit then of a wholesaler getting involved is they can buy large quantities, mass quantities, and drive down that price then for the retailer to buy and then to pass on to the consumer. So now we've got an idea, we've got a decision to make as our business. Where are we going to produce, where are we going to sell our product, or where are we going to buy our products from, sorry. So we're going to buy them straight from the retailer, or we're going to go through a wholesaler, or we're going to go through a producer. Now we can start to think about distribution in this stage. So how are we going to distribute our products? How are we going to distribute our products to the consumer? Is it going to be through a retailer? Is it going to be through a wholesaler? Or we're going to go direct to our consumer? Now, another element that we can throw into this is something called e-commerce, okay, or E&M commerce. So remember, e-commerce is buying and selling over the internet, or buying and selling online, and m-commerce is through a mobile device. So we can then almost add a fourth element to this, where technology plays its part. And we need to weigh up the advantages and disadvantages of a business producing or providing to a particular audience. So if we do this, we can start to then focus on a case study. So again, if we're looking at the scenario, it gives us some big clues on this multi-channel distribution. So we're starting to think, right, well, it's a celebration cake business. It manufactures and sells custom-made cakes, so custom-made. We've got different types of audiences: birth of a child, celebrity, special birthday, weddings, anniversaries. We've also then got purchase from different areas. smartphone app, website, telephone ordering services. So we've got different ways that this business is getting its cakes out. Now it's very unique. It's not traditional. I'm sure most of us would normally buy it from a shop, or if you're buying a cake, you'd buy it from somewhere local because you want to see it, you want it to be fresh, you know it's fresh. But iCakes are using something different. So our first question is, with reference to iCakes, describe the term multi-channel distribution. Now I'd like you to say something like it occurs when a business uses more than one type or one method of distribution, such as through its website and smartphone app, or website and telephone ordering services. That's your second mark. You're using that case study, you're using that scenario to answer the question. So when one reason why a business uses it, it could be to reach a larger target audience or a wider target audience. So the more channels you use, whether it's through a retailer, using e-commerce, m-commerce, telephone service, whatever it is that you're using to sell your product, the reason why you're doing it is to reach a target audience. And again, you need to give a direct example to iCakes within that one. Just to summarize with Place, you've got those three different types of multi-channel distribution in terms of your retailer, your wholesaler, and your producer, and how that's reaching your customer. You've then got your e-commerce and m-commerce elements of it, and how you're using buying and selling online to reach that wider audience. Now you've got to, and I would emphasize on the revision on this stage in particular, especially e-commerce and m-commerce, because it's very sort of popular questions at the moment. Now, what's the advantage and disadvantage of that to a business? And again, it's got to be based on the scenario that is given to you. But your advantage is obviously you're reaching a wider audience, aren't you? It can reduce those costs. You can compare your product to other competitors. However, a disadvantage of selling on your lines, it might be that depending on the product you are selling, the person wants to see that in that physical product. It could be that you're reaching a older target audience, and therefore they might not have the same accessibility to the internet, to accessibility to using online devices, mobile phones, tablets, etc. So you've got to be careful about how you answer that, and make sure you've got the analysis of buying and selling online alongside that in terms of place. Now the next element of the marketing mix is promotion. So here I've got an example of McDonald's. Now most of us will have been to McDonald's or certainly been into one of its, is it a restaurant, fast food service, whatever you want to call it. Now something that when I was doing a little bit of research around recently, looking at promotion for one of my lessons that I was teaching in school, they've come out with a new rewards app. So something that they've done to change their sort of promotion is to have that direct marketing with its customer. So they're trying to get that customer to repeat buy. Most people do in McDonald's because of the brand and the way that it's been built up. But that rewards then is sort of popular. So if you get 4,000 points, I think it is, you get a Big Mac or a free Big Mac. So they're trying to encourage you to go there, and they're trying to use that promotional method, that sales promotion, to go back to its store, to revisit it, to get those points up in order to get your free product or service. This is one of the most popular methods of, or one of the best methods of promotion seen by a business in the last sort of few years. Now, again, there's loads and loads of them, and it depends on the situation that's given to you. So lots of the time, in terms of promotion, it can be given in a local business. So like that Jet2 example, you've got to then think about the case study, think about the scenario, and what's suitable. What kind of budget do they have? So if we're starting to think about advertising, which is just one form of promotion, it could be that you're a large business. The case study says that they've got a large turnover. The revenue is huge. You're talking millions of pounds. Now they'll probably have the scope to then advertise on TV. As we know, TV advertisement is expensive. So therefore, it reaches a larger target audience. So you've got your analysis already of buying and selling using online to promote yourself. Now, some businesses just simply won't have access to that. So they've got to be smarter about it. They've got to try and make themselves unique and differentiate themselves from their competitor. So they'll do that through, like I said, buy one get one free, 10% off, making things stand out. If you go into supermarkets in particular, they'll have big red sort of logos with a price on that allows you to think it's a popular product. It's something you're getting good value for money, and it's just a promotion element of that. So whether it's TV advertisement, through magazines, through radio, through newspapers, whatever it is, you've got to think about that certain situation. Now, if we just jump onto the product a little bit here, just for a minute or two. So I just want to give you another example of a question. So we've got this blue torrent spritz drink. Change the recipe to include more natural ingredients. Now again, just looking at that first line, we know they've changed the recipe to include more natural ingredients, such as this guava. So we've got something to refer to. We can talk about that already. And although this ingredient's more expensive, so again, now we've got a disadvantage. You've got some analysis points just from the content. The price is going to remain the same. So again, we're picking bits of information out. Their profit margin is reducing. So also sugar and additives have been reduced, and spritz drinks have changed the packaging from a black to a clear label. So they've changed the packaging. So again, we're starting to use that information to support us. We've also got where it's sold: supermarket, health retailers, leisure centres and health clubs, in addition to wholesalers. So we've got something that we can start to refer to in terms of before we've even looked at the question. Now in this question, we're actually looking at the product element. And we've got to think about what are what's the life cycle? What's the product life cycle? So hopefully we've got this introduction stage. Okay, we've got this introduction stage. It's where we're introducing a product into the market. We've then got our growth, we've got our maturity, and then as we can see from our sales, if we're just following the line, we've got our decline. So even if you don't remember doing this product life cycle, you don't remember it in the exam, just look at what it's showing you, what the axes are showing you. So we've got some kind of time frame along the bottom, we've got some sales figures across the top. So hopefully that will then make you think, right, well actually it's decline, it's going down, the sales are going down over a period of time, what's happening? It's declining, reducing. So you can start to make some kind of relevance to that. So then look at the questions. So let's look at the first one. State what is meant by an extension strategy. So you might want to say something about it's prolonging the life of a product. It makes a product last longer. And then you're saying one suitable, with reference to data, explain how Spritz Drinks uses an extension strategy for Blue Torrent. So Torrent is now you could say it's extended its life cycle by adding natural ingredients, such as, okay, and you've got your name there. So and then you can say this means that they're looking to explore new markets, such as a healthier market. You could say that they've extended the life cycle by changing the packaging from black to clear. This could be seen as a healthier alternative. It can be seen as psychologically healthier. When you're thinking about black and clear, you can see it as more natural. So again, it's something that possibly the business is looking at to make the customer aware that actually it's going for this healthier image. So it's almost changing its audience. Now you could also say that it's reduced its sugars, attracting, and therefore you could discuss that about advancing, reaching a different audience who is more conscious about health conscious. So you're looking at that in particular. You're looking at those product elements in particular, and you're thinking about what they have done to try and change their product, adapt their product, make it last longer, make it go on, make sales continue to increase, or increase sales further. Then we've got the question about suitable advertising medium for New Torrent. So going back to this promotional element now, give reasons for your suggestions. Suggest one suitable advertising medium. So for this, we've got sales figures on the side. So we could say that TV could be one. We could say a healthy magazine could be another. We could say something about online to reach certain audiences. So then we need to then give reasons for our suggestion. We've got 2 marks available for that. So we've got 1 mark for the suggesting. You've probably got another one, one suitable advertising medium. You've probably got 1 for making sure it's relevant, and you've got then some kind of development along that. So it could be you could say they could choose a magazine for their advertisement. This could be a health magazine because they've included more healthy ingredients into their product. This will reach a suitable audience. You could say something like they might want to use online advertising. People who look at health websites, again, because they've developed their healthier alternatives. And before we go on to that 8 marker where we're starting to then bring in different elements of the marketing mix, I just want to try and describe to you a little bit more about the product life cycle. So again, if we're looking at our product life cycle and we've got our, excuse my drawings here, our sales, and we've got our time at the bottom, and we've got our sort of introduction stage. So we know that our sales grow and then we're going to decline. Now you can start to talk about cash flow. So if you get an 8 or 10 mark question on this, you can start to bring in not only what's happening to sales, but what's happened to the cash flow. So in this first stage, this introductory stage, or even before that, research and development stage, we've got negative cash flow. We've put some money into the business, but we're not gaining sales yet. So we've got a negative cash flow before we start increasing our sales. Okay, before we introduce it into the market, and then we can start to climb and make relevance from our cash flow. So you could say then in our growth stage, what's happening to our cash flow? It's increasing. Is it increasing rapidly? I would suggest probably it is. So in the growth stage, I'll just write this on here. So in the growth stage, we've got a rapid increase in sales. This means that our cash flow will also increase rapidly. This might be where we start to break even. So you're bringing in different topics to produce an outstanding answer. So that's what we need to make relevant to when we're looking at that, when we're thinking about cash flow and our product life cycle. So then just jumping back to that, analyze how Spritz Drinks Limited has adapted its marketing mix to improve sales of Blue Torrent. We've then got to think about our mark scheme a little bit, or how we're going to structure this. And this is the first one we've looked at this evening, and we'll look at more over the next few weeks. But I like to use an acronym called TED. Nice and easy, okay, keeping it simple. And I'm sure your teachers have used different ones. They might have used TED as well. Okay, but all it is talk about the point. So you make your first point. You explain it. You tell me something about it. Give me some kind of context to Spritz Drinks. And then you develop it. Tell me about the impact that's having on the business. Is it increasing sales? Is it increasing market share? What is it doing to the business? And if you do that for each point that you make, then you're going to hit those AO2 and AO3 marks. Now again, hopefully some of your teachers have referred to you about this mark scheme, but this is how those questions, these high tariff questions, important questions that are going to change your grades, okay, are assessed using AO1, AO2 and AO3. So in this example, we've got AO1, we've got worth 2 marks, AO2 is worth 4 marks, AO3 is worth 2 marks. So in every 8, 10 or 12 mark question, you're not going to be able to just write down a list of points and get full marks. Okay, in fact, you're probably going to be limited to 2 or 3 marks in those questions. So you've got to then have that development within. So now we've got a model answer to look at in terms of the marketing mix. And what have they done? What have they, Spritz Drinks Limited, done to improve their sales? Now, if we look at this example question, we've got Spritz has adapted its product to improve its sales. Sales of the most successful drink have fallen. In 2015, they started to decline and continue to fall by approximately half between 2015 and 18. Now there, it's actually a waste of time. There's no content written there that's going to get you any marks. So be careful about how you answer these questions, how you start off your answer. Many papers that I've marked, both for WJC and in my centre, people introduce it. You like to introduce it, but then you start to waffle on, and all of a sudden you've written 4, 5, 6 lines, and you've got no marks. So be careful about that and come back to the question straight away. So again, analyze how they've adapted their marketing mix to improve the sales. So the first thing that they have done, they've adapted their product to meet changing tastes. So that's the first thing that they've done. So we've got a statement, we've got an AO1 mark. We then think, right, they brought out a new healthier product. So he's telling me what they did. So now we've got AO2. So now we've got, again, we're starting to think, right, well, actually, I haven't written anything fantastic, but I've got AO1 and AO2 in there. And then we can think, right, well, actually, what impact did that have? Well, it's entering new markets. And then you can go on to talk about increasing sales if you really want to. But we've got AO3 there as well now. So we've all of a sudden, very quickly, got AO1, AO2, and AO3. And if I'm writing that by hand, it's maybe 2 lines, 3 lines at most. And you've probably got 3 or 4 marks. So you're starting to hit, right, well, I've got 3 marks out of 8, say. Okay, we've got a third of the answer. 40%, it's almost a C. Okay, it's almost a C grade answer. Then we go on to looking at, well, what's the second point? So go back to the first bit. What do they do? How have they adapted? They seem to be changing the place that they sell. So now we've got another point. They traditionally sold the drinks in convenience stores, pubs and hotels. As they adapt their product, the place people buy the drink has started to change. They now sell in more healthy food shops and supermarkets. So now we've got 2 points there. So talking about, this person's tried to talk about what they've done previously and what they're doing now. So we've got AO3 in there, AO2 again. So now we've got some AO1 marks with that red bit. In the first bit, we've got AO2 because we're talking about the case study. We're actually talking about spirits drinks. And have we got AO3 in there? Have we got the impact this could lead to? Okay, this could lead to a major increase in sales. Let's just change that to blue. This means that it could lead to a major increase in sales. In the big supermarkets. So we've got AO3. So automatically, all of a sudden now, I'm starting to hit 6 out of 8. Now 6 out of 8 is a really, really good answer. I just need some kind of conclusion to back that up. All these factors are likely to extend the product life cycle and take it out of decline. So it's giving me a reason. So again, if I'm looking at my evaluation, it's not very strong again, but factors together are likely to extend the product life cycle. What impacts that having? Take it out of decline. So then we've got all 8 out of 8 marks. Because you've broken it down into different sections. You've got that AO1, you've got that AO2, and you've got that AO3. So hopefully that helps you to try and understand a little bit about what it's doing to improve its sales. Now, just to break things up a little bit, I've got a quick fire multiple choice sort of quiz for you. If you just want to pause the video here and have a go at those 5 questions, then please do so. And come back to me in 5 minutes or so. Now I'll just read out the answers. So again, pause it now if you want to have a go at those. So which of the following is an example of promotional mix? Okay, we've got that triangle that you might have looked at in class, is the product design. We've then got our second question. What is the main goal of promotional strategy? It is to increase brand awareness. What is the following type of personal selling? It's all of the above. So we've got different types of selling that we can online selling that we can use. Then question 4, what is the primary goal of a business's place strategy? It would be B, to reach the target market. What is the following? What the following is an example of promotional strategy? Again, running a sale on a particular product. Now again, for most questions, I'd expect some kind of context for that. Now we've already gone over that, so just going to skip through that a little bit. So now thinking about the place and the product, and bringing those two bits together that we've looked at. So discuss how Designer Sofas UK can use the place and product aspects of the marketing mix to meet this aim. So we've got our context down the left-hand side. Again, you can see that the AO1, AO2, and AO3, we've got different types of marks. Now in this one, it's a 10-mark question. It's an unusual one, okay, because we've got lots of AO2 marks in there. But it's a good one to look at because they're the marks that people miss all the time. So all we need to show for our AO1 is that we've got a good level of knowledge about place and product. Then we need to make sure that we're applying it to the designer sofas, online retailers and furniture business. And then we've got a little bit of analysis and evaluation in there as well. So it's an online furniture retail. It does not sell through physical stores. It produces products are sold to the whole of the UK, and some products are exported abroad. The business makes a range of products such as sofas, chairs and tables. Designer Sofas UK has one factory in North Wales where it makes a range of identical standardised furniture products. It also makes individually designed products. So again, you're using that bit of information to pick out different bits of information. The products are sold to the whole of the UK and some abroad. It makes a range of products such as sofas, chairs and tables. It makes standardised furniture products, but it also makes individually designed products. They've got a factory in North Wales, and we're using computer-aided design and computer-aided manufacturing. So we've got lots of different areas that we can discuss within this one. So here, just breaking it down into that TED and thinking about that TED structure again. So my first point is to increase the product portfolio. So what are they doing? They're increasing the product portfolio and focusing on product. So how are they going to do that? So Designer Sofas UK might introduce a new range of sofas or furniture products in addition to the ones that they've got already. This means that, now if take one thing away from this session, okay, is using words like this means that. It's something that's drilled into us on sort of training events, but it's something that examiners are looking out for. This means that, okay? This is because these connectives that will make your sentences much, much stronger. So this means that they will be attracted to new market segments. Okay, it's giving me a benefit to the business, it's giving me an AO3 mark. This will impact the business by increasing their target market and therefore increasing sales. So again, it's that well-developed TED point. But, so we've got however in here. Designing Sofas UK might find it difficult in finding suppliers for new items. This means that the cost of designing new products may increase cost, therefore may have to increase the prices. It's telling me the impact it's going to have. Then we've got our second point. Now we're looking at Designer Sofas UK might open physical stores. So we're looking at the place element. Break that question down. Okay, it's 10 marks, but you've got 5 marks for each one. So now talk about that second bit. Again, something that doesn't happen enough in papers that I mark is pupils reading the question properly. There's 2 elements to this question. Make sure you answer them both. So they might decide to open a physical store. This is to raise awareness in the local areas or local areas without internet access, poor accessibility, anything like that will get you marks. This means that it will encourage people to try the furniture or see it before buying it. What's the disadvantage for that for the business? It increases costs. What costs? They've got to have a building and therefore rent and wages. How does that impact on it? It reduces the profit margin. So you're looking at that chain of reasoning once again, okay, on how that impacts on a business. Can't stress that enough, that element of TED or that TED sort of acronym that I like to use, okay, talking about the point, explain it, and then develop it, okay? And what I mean by develop it is what impact is it having on that business? So use these model answers to support you and help you. Now again, looking at a different type of question. Okay, so now we're starting to look at advertising. So we're looking at that promotional element. Again, we've got a Dogs Trust UK charity. Dogs Trust funds its activities entirely through fundraising and has a number of aims. So we've got some key aims in this bit. Look out for these. Okay, aims are going to be a popular element of it. What are they doing? Okay, what's the type of income that they've got? It's going to give me some kind of explanation about what budget I can use. So Dogs Trust uses a range of advertising media to help fundraise and promote its aims and activities. Evaluate the different advertising media Dogs Trust might use. And again, we've got that AO1 2 marks, we've got AO2 4 marks, and we've got AO3 4 marks. You can start to see a bit of a picture, okay, where these and these are more important than just your knowledge. So please make sure that you expand, you use this TED point. So your first point for this question could be something around using TV, using websites, using newspapers. So you've got different advertising media that's going to help them to fundraise its activities. So you need to talk about a point, explain it, develop it. So if I'm going to talk about the point in this one, and you're going to have to use, excuse my handwriting again, okay, they might use TV. So my point is going to be about TV. Well, what does that mean? Okay, national advert reaches a large audience or a wide audience. Millions of people. So you're breaking it down, you're talking about the impact that that's having. It's got millions of viewers. You've probably seen them on TV. What does that mean? This means that gets more people donating. So we've got one point. We've talked about it, we've explained it, developed it. Now, is what I want you to do next is do a negative. So talk about, use the TV element. What is the negative of using TV? Now, hopefully you all know that it's expensive. So you can then say, well, actually, it's a very expensive form of media, and spending that much money on a TV advert can compromise some of its aims. And then you can go for that last bit of your evaluation. And again, use that acronym if you want for this evaluation. Talk about your point, make a judgment, but talk about your point. So you might want to say, that said, the money raised from TV advertisement will outweigh the drawbacks. This is because. Okay, so explaining it. However, it does depend on, and you can start to bring in a bit of a you sort of analysis into it. So you've got that point, you've got that explanation, you've got that development within that sort of question as well. So think about those different ones. Again, there's lots of different advertising mediums that you could use. Online advertising could be, and you could suggest, well, why they're using that. You could say because TV or national adverts are expensive. They don't have this, or they could be spending the money better somewhere else. So again, you're thinking about that, talk about the point, explain it, develop it. So your next bit, or your final element of the product, the marketing mix, is price. Now you've got those 6 or 7 different pricing strategies that you need to be aware of. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't know them all inside out, but make sure you've got 2 or 3 of them embedded ingrained in your memory. So revise them, put them on flashcards. Okay, because that's what's going to help you. That's what's going to support you in answering a question on price. You're not going to have to know every single one, but you're going to have to know 2 or 3 in detail, an advantage and a disadvantage. So if we start to think of a business that's been impacted by the price, we can think about GoPro. So GoPro traditionally has brought out their latest models of their cameras at about £400, retailing about £400. Now they did this, especially a few years ago when we're talking about 2015, 2016, 2017, they brought them out at this high price and had to reduce the price significantly within the first 6 months. So they'd knock £100 off, they put a special offer on. But the reason they did that is because the sales went as high as they expected. Apple and Samsung and Google, other phone manufacturers will have brought up high definition cameras on their phones, so people weren't buying them. Within 12 months, they'd slashed the prices to half price. You could get one of the latest models, or a 12-month-old model, half the price for £200. So it's a strategy that didn't work. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and you've got to make sure that you're clever about that. So we've got those different strategies, okay? And I appreciate we're just about finishing here. So Christopher Williams has worked in the retail industry for 20 years. In 2016, he was made redundant. He believed that he had a successful characteristic to be a successful entrepreneur. He came up with the idea to set up his own business called CW Sports. Now you can see here again, if you go through this, and is what I would like to do in your next activity, is go through this and highlight those AO1, AO2, and AO3 marks in that paragraph, okay, or in those 3 paragraphs. See if you can find that knowledge, see if you can find that application to CW Sports, and see if you can find that impact of the business. So go through it, just spend 5 minutes going through that answer, not even that, just highlighting that AO1, AO2, and AO3, okay, and it hopefully get you to build up this idea of writing a detailed answer, an 8, 10, 12 mark detailed answer that's going to reach those higher grades, going to allow you to reach those higher grades. So just to summarize, or just to finish off, you've got another quick fire questions, or 5 questions that you can have a go at in your own time about the different elements we've looked at today. Now pause it here if you don't want to hear the answers, but just very quickly, we've got B, question 2 is D, question 3 is D, question 4 is A, and question 5 is D. So please use those quick fire quizzes. Please use the exemplar answers as part of your revision when you look into the marketing elements. I hope you found today's session fairly useful. Next week's session is on human resources, and I hope to see you then.